good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about this presentation that I'd like to call World Without Web. Okay, but before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Wijaya, and I'm a film and theater major. And I have a confession to make today. I am an internet addict. How do I know this? Well, first, let's ask ourselves this question. What will life be like without the internet? I asked myself this, and I couldn't find the answer. So I did a little experiment. I spent an entire day without the internet, just one day. And this diagram here showed what I did with my time. 55% of the time, I just sit there and stare blankly into space because I didn't know how to do without the internet. I didn't know how to function. And that's a sad reality, but is it dangerous? Well, yes, and there's 3 reasons why it's dangerous for society to be dependent on the internet. And that includes the politics, business, and social aspects. So let's move right along to my first main point, which is the politics of internet dependency. Can we really trust everything that we read and see on the internet? Well, governments and organizations have been pushing for greater reliance on the internet, especially for information and knowledge. But the thing is, governments may have control and power over what information is available on the internet. They can use censorship and filtering in order to promote certain ideals and views. And a good example for this is China's government's regulation over the internet. In China, the government blocked sites such as Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and they replaced them with China's own inventions so that the information available for the Chinese public are only those who are aligned with the government's values. And although it's not that transparent everywhere else, maybe not in here as well, we still need to be careful of the kind of information that we see and read in the internet. Although finding answers in Google is great, it's simple, it's easy, it's not always reliable. We need to always find if the sources are trustworthy and if the opinions are not biased. So be careful before we commit ourselves to whatever we see and read on the internet. Next, from politics, let's move to the business of internet dependency. Is it always profitable? Well, businesses like governments have also been promoting greater reliance on the internet. And that's great. They've come up with some really great inventions like Gmarket, eBay, Amazon, Expedia, and even internet banking. It's really great. But the thing is, there's no such thing as unhackable computer system. Last year in 2014, there was an incident where 20 million South Koreans, data and banking data and personal data have been leaked by 3 major banks. And that just goes to show how consumers can be threatened by hacking, personal data identity theft, and fraud, and even data leaks. And for companies, especially those in the field of art, like music, movies, books, when they put their businesses online, they're also prone to things such as piracy and illegal downloading. So even though internet can help businesses grow very well through the internet, we need to be careful with the kind of assets and information we put out there because who knows, it might not always be profitable. And so after business and politics, let's move to my last and final point, last but certainly not the least, which is the societal impacts of internet dependency. Let's look at this picture and see if we can find something wrong with them. Or this picture. Or this picture. So these pictures show that once we are too dependent on the internet, we kind of lose sight of reality because we are too focused on our virtual worlds. So sometimes, even for me myself, sometimes we care more about the number of friends we have on Facebook, the number of likes on Instagram, the number of followers, instead of the actual connection between people. And that turns us into a society that's socially disconnected to one another and also less empathetical to others. In 2007, Hanyang University did a study, and it shows that 30% of South Koreans under 18 are at risk of internet addiction. That's 2.4 million people. Imagine that. What kind of society are we creating through that? Ironic, isn't it? The internet that's supposed to bring people together, brings us closer together, communicate better with each other, it actually disconnects us from one another. So although the internet is a way to help us perform better in life, it should not be taking over our lives. So I have talked to you about the politics, business, and societal impacts of internet dependency. So let me conclude by saying this. Although the internet is a great invention, and if used wisely, it can be a great, wonderful, powerful tool, but we as a society, we became too dependent on the internet without fully realizing the long-term ramifications of this decision. And therefore, if there's only one thing that you can remember from my presentation today, please remember this. Although the internet is now a central part of our everyday lives, don't let it take over our lives. Don't let it be our entire life. And that is all for my presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention. You have been a great audience. Have a great night, and don't forget to live.